Hello everyone. A couple of months ago Arteza sent me some of their products to review. Now I have already reviewed some of their acrylic paints. They sent me the premium acrylic paints in tubes. I received the regular set as well as the metallics. So I've already reviewed those, and I've also reviewed their acrylic paper pad as well. This is the premium acrylic paper pad, really thick heavy duty paper here, 400 GSM, and I just absolutely loved those. I'll leave the link to that review video in the description box below, but they also sent me some watercolour books as well, and that's what I want to review today. Now the watercolour books come in a pack of 2. This is what they look like, and they are £12.99 in the UK and $12.99 in the US. These particular books measure 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches, or 14 centimetres by 9 centimetres, and you get 80 pages of £110 or 230 GSM cold pressed dual-sided acid-free watercolour paper. They come wrapped in the Arteza sleeve, and inside you've just got some information regarding the other products that they have available in their range. And of course, once you take the sleeve off, this is what they look like. So they're covered in natural linen, which I just think is a really nice touch. I think these are really nicely presented, and this is just a great size to take on your travels and keep in your handbag, I think. You have an elastic band closure just to keep the pages together, which is nice. Inside, on the inside front cover, you've got a space here to put your details. If lost, please return to. And then on the inside back cover, you've got a plastic sleeve for you to put a few bits and pieces inside if you wanted to. So that opens out like that. Now, the books have 10 sewn in signatures. There we go. Let me hold it up so that you can see what it looks like. And they have a satin ribbon as well, which is sewn into the spine just so that you can keep your place. That's what the spine looks like if I hold it at an angle. Now, one thing I do want to point out, let me just flick through. I mean, you know, these journals are absolutely lovely, but where the signatures meet, you do get this cracking on the spine. It doesn't mean that the pages are going to fall out because they're all sewn in. You can see the fabric spine here. But if that kind of thing bothers you, it was obviously glued, and just as the pages flatten out, they do have a tendency to come apart, and it's the same on both of the journals. Let me just find another one. You see, this is where it's glued, but you can see that it's starting to crack as the pages flatten out. So I just wanted to point that out because obviously I'm giving an honest review. So I've been using my watercolour book for a couple of days now, so let's have a talk through how I've been getting on. You can see that I have got quite a bit of warping on my pages, but that's fine because you can hold it together with the elastic band. Now, first of all, I tried my regular watercolour palette. This is the Pretty Excellent watercolour palette here, so that's what those look like. And you can see that the colours come out quite grainy. This was done wet on wet, so I applied a wash of water and then dropped my paints onto the page. They do blend really nicely. I did find, however, though, that the more that you work at the paper, it feels as if it's starting to pill, although there is no sign of any shedding now that the paper has dried. It has warped quite a bit, and I don't think this paper would hold up to too much liquid. That's the smooth side there, because of course this paper is dual-sided. I tried it again on the grainy side, and I did find that the paints didn't blend out quite so well. Again, you do get this grainy texture. This is just where I blotted off the excess, but you can see where it's gone through to the spine that it has appeared on the other side. So you'd have to be careful about that. I'll talk more about the doodling in a minute. Then I decided to try it with some brush pens. I first tried it with my Acacia Sai watercolour brush pens. I know that Arteza do their own version of these, and I did find that they didn't blend out very well. I put down a layer of the brush marker, then just used a regular watercolour brush and some plain water just to try and blend the colour out. The pink blended better than the blue. The colour just stayed put, and these these colours on the right hand side were just the leftover ink on my watercolour paintbrush. Then these ones here were done with the Jane Davenport watercolour markers, mermaid markers, and I just think these work absolutely beautifully on this paper. So again, I did the same thing. I put some of the colour down and blended it out with a watercolour brush, just with some plain water, and you can see that it just blends out absolutely beautifully. So I think these would be perfect for using in this particular book. I'll talk more about the doodling in a second. Then I tried swatching some of my Pretty Excellent watercolours, and just to see how they would perform, I tried lifting some of the watercolour off as well. And on the grainy side, it's not quite so successful. This is a Neocolor 2 water-soluble pen crayon. So I used the darker green first and then the lighter green and tried to blend that out. And that didn't really work. But I think that's more about the Neocolors than it is the watercolour paper. I think with Neocolors, it works better on a gessoed background. These here are the Peerless watercolours, and those worked really nicely. Again, I'll talk more about those in a second, because I decided to play further with these on the smooth side. So these are the Peerless watercolours. This is a set that Winnie Langman, my friend, sent me. So these are dye-based watercolours, and the idea is that you just dip your watercolour brush onto it and you just pick up some pigment that way. So let's just lay some of that down, and these worked really nicely on this paper and remained quite smooth. And then I tried doing one of my doodle cats just to see how nicely the paint blended. Again, this was just using my Pretty Excellent watercolour paper. You can see that it is quite grainy, but you know, I did get some smooth coverage. Now I decided to go back to some of the first pages I did and try doodling. And this is where I think this paper pad will come into its own for me. Now, here are some of the products that I use to do my doodling. So let's talk through these. I first of all drew the stem of the flower using my hexagonal Muji pen, and that went onto the paper really nicely. I then doodled using one of these Decocolor gold pens, and again that just worked really nicely. I did try doing some doodle dots using the Papermate Flair pen, and that didn't work at all really, that bled. Whereas the Sharpie marker, these are the fine Sharpie markers, went on really smoothly, and there was no bleeding using those. Then over leaf I tried doing some more doodling. The pink flower was using a gel pen, and this is the Pilot one, and it went on really smoothly. It was an absolute joy to use over the watercoloured background. Then the white doodles you can see were done using a Uniball Signo pen, which again worked really nicely on this paper. And the gold again is the Decocolor marker. Now down here you can see that I've got two white hearts. The one on the left was done using my Posca paint pen, whereas the one on the right was done using the Signo Uniball pen. And I just think the Signo Uniball is much brighter than the Posca paint pen. The little swirls again were done using a jelly roll pen, a gel pen. Just absolutely love that. And then I've got a whole page full of doodles here, again using my hexagonal Muji pen. So I think that's how I'm going to end up using this watercolour book. So just to summarise, what are my overall thoughts regarding these watercolour books? I just think they are absolutely perfect for using on the go and keeping in your handbag, or just, you know, keeping in your car with a few other supplies. I don't think I would use it to practice my watercolouring in, but certainly I would use it for doodling. Let me just give you another idea. You could take a piece of acetate as a portable palette and keep a few of these in the back pocket, and then maybe use the brush markers in that particular way. So you could use one of your brush markers if you have them, and then use a watercolour pen. Let's just grab a page here. And apply some water and just use this as a palette, and maybe sort of apply a wash that way, which is much smoother. I think that's how I would use them. Or, you know, if you've got the mermaid markers, I just think those are absolutely perfect as well. You could also use something, as I say, like the Peerless watercolours. This is the Viviva version of the Peerless watercolours. I bought these whilst I was in the Far East. I haven't used them yet. This is something that I do intend trying. You get 16 colours in this, but the size-wise, it's just absolutely perfect for using in these little watercolour books. They work in exactly the same way as the Peerless watercolours, and you've just got a piece of wax paper in between to protect the colours, but you know, ideal for travelling. And then I just have a selection of gel pens, some kind of fine line marker, perhaps a gold pen as well, and I just doodle away until my heart's content. Now, I just want to state that I haven't been paid to carry out this review, although Arteza did send me the products free of charge. If you are interested in buying these watercolour books or any of Arteza's other products, they are offering a 10% discount, and I'll leave the discount code in the description box below. I will tell you that it's an affiliate link, meaning that if you buy via the link in my video, I do get a very small commission if you purchase via me. So I just wanted to point that out. So what are my overall thoughts? I really like these little books. As I say, the only drawback is the splitting that sometimes occurs in between the signatures. It's worse in some places than in others, but as I say, the book is not going to come apart. So price wise, as I say, these are £12.99 for a set of 2 in the UK, or $12.99 in the US, and I'll leave all the details in the description box below. So I hope that review was helpful. Let me know what you would use these particular books for. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.